Hi everyone, it's Nicole. Welcome back to my channel and another paper crafting video tutorial. Today we are creating a beautiful trio of strawberry themed cards with products from the Waffle Flower March 2024 release. I don't know about you guys, but I am a sucker for all things strawberry and I can't get enough. And coordinating stencils, dies, all of the things make creating beautiful cards so easy, and I think you're going to really love the products in this release. I'm making 3 cards today. The first card I'm going to create is going to feature a light pink background that I am inking up with Kitsch Flamingo Distress Oxide ink, kind of keeping that ink more towards the center. This is something I like to do a lot where it fades out to the outer edge. It doesn't have to be perfect because we are going to layer over the top of this the Waffle Flower Sweet Lattice panel. Now this is a panel die that's A2 sized you're going to use for all kinds of things. Think beautiful floral arrangements, obviously the strawberries from today, all of the stuff. It's going to be amazing. Now I did take a little bit of my Distress Oxide ink, pressed it into my splatter box, added some water to it, and then used a paintbrush to splatter that over the surface. It was a little light though, so I actually grabbed my Distress Oxide spray. That's going to be concentrated a little bit darker, and I am going to go ahead and just do the same thing. I put a little bit in my box and picked it up with a paintbrush and then splattered it over the panel. You can see that kind of peeking out of the corner of the left side of the screen. While this is drying, I have die cut the strawberries from probably my favorite product from the release. It's really hard to choose, but you guys know me. I'm a die cut girl at heart. I love the new strawberries dies. I've die cut everything from white cardstock today, and we're going to apply ink to all of these pieces. Festive Berries Distress Oxide is what I used for the strawberries, of course, and I am using Twisted Citron and Rustic Wilderness for any of the greenery. Now, I am using the Waffle Flower blending brushes. This is kind of just a fun little system that I use that personally works well for me. And that is I use one set of blending brushes from Simon Says Stamp for my dye inks and things like that when I am ink blending. I use these Waffle Flower brushes for my Distress Oxides. They're different ink formulations and I don't like to mix with my blending tools, and so that's kind of how I differentiate. I love that they both come in rainbow, which to me just works really easily. I'm able to just grab the green for the green, red for red, pink for pink, and so on and so forth. Next, I am going to attach the green pieces to the top of my strawberries. You'll notice I'm just kind of working, however it works best, adding all of that ink color to all of the pieces. I do want to stamp a greeting on this Sweet Lattice panel, and this is from the Waffle Flower Sweet Plates Sentiments. So this is made to coordinate with the plate dies, which you'll see here a little bit later in the video, but you can use it with anything. I stamped Have a Berry Happy Birthday, My Wonderful Friend. Of course, I love the fun little puns and plays on words that these stamps provide and how they work beautifully, obviously, with the berry themed product. I stamped that with black ink. We're going to be applying our strawberries along the right side of this lattice. And you could really pick all kinds of different ways to attach your images to this beautiful background panel. Once I have that, I am going to start inking up the rest of the components. I worked a little bit at a time, not exactly sure how many of the different strawberries, greenery, flowers, all of that stuff I was going to use. I do think I ended up using most, if not all, of the components from the dies. If you've worked with Waffle Flower before, you know that their dies do come untabbed, which is amazing. No cutting apart. one of my very favorite things is when you don't have to cut apart your dies. I'm going to kind of play around with the position and how I want to create this arrangement to frame up my greeting and to perfectly complement the rest of the card. I love how the pink and red work together. I think it's so pretty and very fresh and springy and fun. And I will be layering over the strawberries on this little, the little mini strawberries there here in just a bit. Plus I want to add some of these little flowers and things. So just kind of playing around, trying to figure out the best way to position everything. Often this is the part of the design process that takes the longest, is really just figuring out where it's all going to go and what looks the best. And I moved that big strawberry here and there. I really do like how it turns out. I kind of like how the biggest grouping ends up down along the bottom, and up at the top we'll just have a little strawberry popping out with a couple of little flowers. I am doing all of my ink blending on a glass mat. This is my favorite way to do any ink blending like this, because with a little rubbing alcohol, a baby wipe, even water, you can quickly and easily clean that up. I'm adhering the leaf trio with the 2 small strawberries on the stem kind of sticking out from that with foam adhesive. I'm using a combination of foam and liquid. Some of the elements are popped up, some are glued directly to the background, kind of just depending on how things looked the best. I love the little bit of dimension. I love the different dimensions between, you know, the strawberries and leaves and things, and where some is popped up and some is not, I guess is what I want to say, but I like that. So just kind of being aware of that with all of the assembly. And of course we are going to add this cute little strawberry up here at the top. I love how it kind of has that little curve, so it's perfect to tuck in, and then it draws your eye and brings some red up to the top portion of the card panel, which is definitely what I want. I'm really happy at this point with the direction of the design and the distribution of the red color. I think it looks very natural and very pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and ink up the rest of the pieces, including a little fossilized amber in the center of the flower buds. And then obviously more festive berries for my strawberry, more twisted citron and rustic wilderness for the leaves. We're going to tuck in the rest of these elements, and then we will add some enamel dots. I'm using some enamel dots from Hero Arts. So here's a funny little thing about me. Sometimes when I haven't cleaned up different projects on my desk, I may still have some stuff around me as I am moving on to the next project. I will just pull from whatever's laying about. So if I have enamel dots from a previous project or pearls or whatever it might be, I just use them instead of going and digging out something else. And in this case, I actually had 2 different packages of Hero Arts enamel dots on my desk, and these are awesome translucent ones. This is the translucent sunset. And even though there's like lots of yellows and oranges, there's also this kind of, I want to call it a fruit punch color. And to me, that really worked well with the strawberries. Plus then the yellow color works great for the center of the florals. So I actually just use that. It doesn't have to be kind of quote unquote perfect. And that is just kind of something funny I do. You guys are going to have to let me know in the comments if you do the same. Before I add those enamel dots to finish, there is one more item that I want to add to my card. So I can kind of work around it with the enamel dots, and that is the rest of my sentiment. I'm going to choose one more greeting from that same Sweet Plates Sentiments stamp set to stamp on black cardstock with embossing ink and heat emboss with white embossing powder, and that is "You Are the Very Best." It is going to make my sentiment read, "Have a very happy birthday, my wonderful friend. You are the very best." And I often talk about this in my videos, but I love to kind of marry together or use a combination of sentiments. So if I am adding, you know, in this case, that longer sentiment, often it's a larger script sentiment. I love a little sentiment strip in addition. I think it adds a really nice kind of decorative touch almost to the card, but it adds a lot of interest, which is what we're going to do here. You'll notice I'm kind of filling in anything I may have missed at this point, including tops of strawberries, you know, just any of the things that I maybe missed on these die cut images to really complete them. And I did notice I missed a couple of those little things. If there's teeny tiny pieces, I highly, highly recommend tweezers or something of that sort. It really helps assemble everything so easily. And then we're going to take our black cardstock, prep it with a powder tool, and stamp our greeting that we will be using. Now, I do end up using some additional greetings from the Waffle Flower Sweet Plates Sentiments stamp set. In fact, I think on all of the cards. But I'm going to stamp several of them on this black licorice cardstock. Sprinkle on, try not to make the mess that I just made here. Oh well. And then, you know, go ahead and heat emboss that. I'll go ahead and do that off camera. And then I will die cut it with a sentiment label die from Simon Says Stamp. Place some foam adhesive. I love these thin foam adhesive strips on the back, and pop this in place. And then you can see those enamel dots there, and they look fantastic with the festive berries and Kitsch Flamingo colors. I love it. We'll glue the whole panel to a white top fold card base to finish. Next, we're going to use the Strawberries background layering stencils to create an all-over background. Basically, I love this for creating my own pattern paper. So going in with stencil number 1 and using Festive Berries Distress Oxide ink. For stencil number 2, there also are the little grid marks in the corners, which make it so easy to line it up with your 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch panel of cardstock. I am going to add Twisted Citron. Now, I am doing this on white cardstock, but I often love doing these kind of designs on a darker cardstock. So imagine doing this on a light pink or even a yellow, green. You could do this on craft and it would look completely different. And I think that would be very, very fun. Then we're going to take stencil number 3 and use Rustic Wilderness. And you can see it lines up so easily, which I absolutely love. We're just going to apply this. And then stencil number 4 are the seeds and the strawberries. And for this, I wanted to use white pigment ink. But to me, I have really been loving using the Picket Fence pouncers for my white pigment ink. I have one set aside and designated just for white pigment. And I love it because you kind of are pouncing that ink into the design. And I feel like you get really good coverage with it this way. So that is what I'm doing. And then I can lift it up. If I think I need to go back over it, I can totally do that. No big deal. Super easy. And we're going to end up with you'll see the seeds, but they're not going to be like super dark and prominent. That's really kind of what I wanted here. Creating our own background panel. Now, I did not do this today, but I do think this would be fun. I think it would also be really cute to go over the entire background with like a a background text stamp, just to have some nice light, subtle text. But you can definitely leave it just as is. I think that's awesome too. I'm going in now and stamping several other sentiment strip greetings. I'm not going to end up using all of these on my card, so I'll just save the rest of these. I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do with this card at this point, so I just stamped a bunch of these phrases from the Sweet Plates sentiment stamp set. We'll heat emboss with white embossing powder, just like we did previously. And then from there, we'll die cut into sentiment labels with those Simon Says Stamp sentiment label dies. It's never a bad thing to have extra sentiment strips on hand. Often I just slide them into the storage pocket that I use to keep my stamp sets. And then the next time I use this set, I can easily run to it, grab out what I need, and don't have to spend the time stamping, adding the embossing powder, heat embossing, all that good stuff. It's already done for me. So I did go ahead and, stamp, emboss, die cut, all of those good things, and then I can just choose the ones I want for my card. These strawberries are going to be for my second and third cards. So I went ahead and did this step now. This is the Waffle Flower Strawberries background. No, I'm so sorry. Multiple Strawberries Die-n-stencil. So it means that you're stenciling several strawberries, as you saw me do there, 2 rows of strawberries. This gives us a ton, 10 strawberries. 8 different die cuts, because 2 of those strawberries die cut together, as you can see. But you get this as a group, and it's fantastic. You guys, no coloring required. You can see that this was a no coloring project, but yet you end up with all these beautiful colored images. But I am going to use a combination, one of these strawberry images for this second card, and the rest are going to be used on my final card, which I think is amazing. I did all of the same inking that I did for the background with the Festive Berries, Twisted Citron, Rustic Wilderness, and the white pigment ink. And then we're just die cutting all of them. They look amazing. I instantly have all of these strawberries that I can use on my cards. And now I need to figure out, what do I want to do? At first I had such a hard time figuring that out. And then I thought, oh my gosh, I completely forgot. There is a new pattern paper pad. It is the Berry Gingham. The colors are incredible and amazing. What if I combine that with this, almost using it, well, not almost, using it as a pattern paper. So I cut off about 2 inches, I believe, off of the bottom. You can use that on another card. I didn't. I did save it though, so I can use it later. And I'm going to create a card with this. So we're going to use that strawberry as the top part, the green gingham along the bottom edge as the bottom part. And I am also going to put a little white strip to kind of give that definition between the top and the bottom. We're going to place a strawberry stenciled and die cut image along the bottom green gingham, add a couple of the sentiment strips, and then we're going to wrap some twine around the card. And just like that, super simple, super easy, and such a beautiful finished result. So I am going to pop up this part with foam. I popped up the strawberries with foam, the sentiment strips with foam. And then I thought, do I want to pull this off and put the twine? And then I thought, no, I'm going to tear my card. So we're just going to be kind of tricky about it. I'm not going to make it too bulky. Normally I like to hide my twine, but I think we can get by with it on this card. So because I already put the foam down. Normally I like to wait to put the foam down. I wasn't thinking though. This was a last minute addition and it works out great. This twine is just something from Stampin' Up! That I've had in my stash for several years. You could probably find something similar, or maybe even, add sprays or something to some basic white twine to change the color if you want. And we'll just snip the ends. I did add some of those same enamel dots. Hey, I had them out on my desk. I thought, they're going to work on everything today. So you're going to see those make an appearance on all 3 cards. We will finish by gluing this entire panel to a white top fold card base, and then we are going to be ready to work on our third and final card. And I'm kind of going to go with the same basic design as what I just did for this one, where we're going to use some of the pattern paper, but we're also going to use this background. This is the Sweet Plaid texture die. I love the texture dies from Waffle Flower. I think they are so amazing, so brilliant. And I'm going to ink this up with Twisted Citron. This is a lot like the first background I created. I'm not taking the color all the way to the edge, just so it looks like it's kind of fading in to the center. I'm not going to ink the bottom either, because you can see the red gingham that I'm going to place along the bottom edge. But I want to distress this green again with tone on tone. We're going to use Twisted Citron Distress Spray, and I'm just going to spritz it a little bit and let that dry. It's going to dry super, super fast. But I like how it's just a tone on tone, so it's not going to be super dark, but yet it's still going to add that distressy that I love. We're going to cut about 2 inches from the red gingham. We're going to pop this up along the bottom edge with foam adhesive, kind of like I did. It's opposite of what I did on the previous card where I did the top. I'm not going to add the white strip divider. This time we are going to use the Sweet Plates dies to create a berry bowl. And the berry bowl is going to be sitting on this, what I'm imagining is the plaid tablecloth, if you will. And it's going to sit on top of that. It will be popped up as well with foam. It's going to have strawberries in the bowl. All the rest of those strawberries we have left over. And then a couple, the little group of strawberries, the group of 2, is going to be sitting on the tabletop beside it. So I want to ink up my berry bowl. I did die cut this from white cardstock as well. And I love with the Sweet Plates dies, you can do like the top facing, not top facing, overhead facing, basically. Think of looking down over the top of it, or you can do this bowl where you can tuck things inside, which I love this. It's got the little cuts in it, meaning you can tuck your strawberries. I felt like an aqua bowl was really going to play beautifully with the color of the red plaid gingham tablecloth and the bright green of our background. So we're using salvage patina and inking up our little berry bowl and the little saucer with these inks. I try to do some light and some dark. There's layering for all of it. It goes together so easily and so beautifully. And then we're going to start tucking our strawberries down inside. Oh my goodness. I love salvage patina and the strawberries. It's so good. And this little plaid or gingham paper pad, highly recommend. If you love plaids and ginghams, you're going to want to get this paper pad. It is fantastic. Great scale for all of the different prints. I'm really particular about the size and scale of prints. These are usable. To me, these are so usable for backgrounds, die cutting, all of the things. So now I have popped up part of the edge of the saucer for my berry bowl that's overlapping the red gingham, or I will. The rest is going to be glued directly to that because remember, the red gingham along the bottom edge is popped up. So we only want to put foam under that top edge. Then we're going to put foam underneath the top of our berry bowl that's filled with strawberries. But what overlaps the saucer that already has been adhered with foam, we don't want to add any extra foam there because everything will be kind of funny. So always kind of keep that in mind. I did have one random strawberry and I thought, why am I not adding that to the berry bowl? Let's just pop him in there. And you'll notice with my foam adhesive placement, I'm very particular here. I want to make sure that I'm keeping it up at the top. We're going to just put liquid glue down there at the bottom. That looks good. We're going to then set our other strawberries over here to the side. I think I only used one foam square for this. That looks good. And now it's time for sentiments. I will be going back with the Sweet Plate sentiments, one of them, but I did opt not to use the black. I'm also going to be incorporating the Sweet Lattice sentiments. These are phenomenal. Yes, they're made to work perfectly with our Sweet Lattice panel, but you can see I'm not using the Sweet Lattice panel here. I am using other products and they work with everything. And they are very usable, beautiful sentiments that have a combination of text and serif fonts that look amazing. So I decided, after playing around quite a bit with different combinations and greetings, that I'm going to use Have a Wonderful Birthday down below the berry bowl from this stamp set, from the Sweet Lattice sentiments. And then at the top, we're going to use sentiments from the Sweet Plates sentiment set. So we'll stamp hello directly on the background with black ink. We're going to stamp You Are the Very Best from the Sweet Plates sentiments on white cardstock with black ink and die cut with a sentiment label die. And we're going to stamp Have a Wonderful Birthday from the Sweet Lattice sentiments and die cut it with the coordinating die for that and pop it up. So You Are the Very Best and Have a Wonderful Birthday are both popped up with foam. It fills in the top and the bottom. And to me, it just kind of all flows together really nicely. I did think that this greeting down here needed a little foam. So remember, this bottom portion of this panel has foam back behind the pattern paper and then foam back behind the greeting. So it does have a little bit of foam. I still don't think it pops it up that much, and it looks really, really good. We'll finish this with a scattering of enamel dots, and that is it, you guys. That finishes off all 3 of these cards. They all feature strawberries, lots and lots of new products from the Waffle Flower March 2024 release. I hope you have loved this. I hope you've seen some things that you want to add to your stash or just gained some inspiration for products that you already own at home. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. The supplies I use to create my cards are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye! Thank you so much for joining me today for another paper crafting tutorial. I love being able to share with this incredible community of crafters. I want to give a huge shout out and special thank you to my amazing Patreon members. If you're interested in joining Patreon, please click the link in the description underneath the video here on YouTube. Patreon is a private community where you can support more of what I do. There is exclusive content, information, and behind-the-scenes content. Top-tier members will receive a handmade birthday card during your birthday month, access to D-Stash, and monthly exclusive lives, plus so much more. We would love to have you join our growing community. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel, click the like button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to always be notified when I have a new paper crafting video or I go live. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you next time.